Good evening, everyone. Should know possibly tonight if we're going down. But so far that looks like a bear flag. Could be a rounding bottom potentially. Let's see. See, they're gonna go like this. But what's up, Will? Not feeling quite 100%, so I'll go as long as I'm feeling alright. I think Asia's getting destroyed right now. Yeah, China's down 1%. Everything's looking kind of cheeky. Let me know if my mic is quiet or too loud. Still getting used to my new one. Yeah, it don't look great, right? Doing good, guys. I like Flare, so I didn't do a lot of prep for tonight, so I apologize. I had a kind of a busy weekend, but figure we can go through some requests, kind of go from there. Flare. I know I like Flare overall. I don't love this setup, if I'm being honest. Bitcoin alert? Interesting. Okay. So one thing I do like about Flare is they're a Flare. They do have a really nice integration in terms of infrastructure. I don't love that their income has been going down, though. I mean, they're down basically 25% year over year. I do like that they've been paying their debt down. And they should benefit from the infrastructure spending this year. So, if you're not familiar with them, they do engineering, construction, fabrication, maintenance, and so a lot of infrastructure and mining and things like that. You guys just want to talk about the gap down potential? You could do that. You know, one interesting stock I've been looking at lately has actually been Fling, FLNG. Yeah, we just had this flag breakout here, which is interesting. saying that word a lot tonight. Interesting. And we also had breakout, retest. Looks like we're going to get one more retest here. If you're not familiar with this, this is a marine shipping company that specializes in liquefied natural gas. Kind of like I mentioned a long time ago, GLNG. FLNG is a very similar one. I think they're a little bit better run, and so they're fundamentally better than a GLNG. He's sitting at about 1.1 billion market cap. GLNG 1.6. But one thing I really like about FLNG is they have a really good stewardship and leadership. Their financials are going really well. They make good money, good dividend. And money should continue to rise as natural gas prices stay high and shipping prices stay high. So I would like to see this get back above this pivot here over 2240, and then I'd feel pretty good, even more confident if we can get over 23. But I think this will do good into earnings, and I expect good earnings on this. Goggle to 20. GOGL has been just absolute banger. Got this nice accumulation phase and then just clean breakout. I expect some profit taking into earnings on this. They have a really nice fleet, so earnings will be interesting on this as well. So 20% dividend. I can't imagine they will sustain that, but we'll have to see. DraftKings ER. I mean, they did break this giant downtrend. I even had an alert set on it. I've been waiting for this, so now we're out of this channel. So I will be curious. They had that nice Super Bowl spot. I just don't understand how they still don't make money. Like they're the thing I don't love is it definitely looks rising wedgy. So keep that in mind, that rising wedge is not a joke. I imagine it will either do, I mean, it's going to just do one of these in the earnings probably. And it's either going to do that, or it's going to do this. So you want the red pill? Or you want the blue pill? So we were talking about this on Live Friday, MATX. They had this downtrend that got broken and then re-entered. So probably got to do just that now. I mean, it bounced right where it should, right on the pivot, right on resistance, or right on support. So you might see some chopping with the market. What you're gonna want to see is higher highs going in there, kind of making a pennant. But you want the green candles and then a chop down, and then giant green candles and then a chop down. So I do expect a rebound on this into earnings. Matterport will be interesting. Let's take a look at that. So this is one that I haven't really charted in a while. Probably been, yeah. I thought this thing was going to bounce around $10. Clearly it did not. It had this nice falling wedge, and then it decided just to make a new falling wedge apparently. So that was one that I got wrong. I'll admit on that. I did not expect this to keep falling. I mean, generally falling wedges tend to break to the upside, but not always. But the math said that that would have made sense if it did. So now it's looking like we might have a bump and run potentially. And we may be getting a rounding bottom. We'll have to see. I do think you have some accumulation here. The signs are there. You have your initial supply. You have your thrust down. You have your snap back here. And you have another thrust down. The volume is staying very consistent though, so it's hard to tell. We are getting a lot of volume with not a lot of price action, so basically you got your preliminary selling right here, which is holding up as a zone of contention. You got your selling climax right here. So you can see, this is important to see too. So your selling climax, the volume on it is the biggest candle down here too. So look at this. So the biggest candle over here is your selling, or your buying climax, and inversely the candle on the bottom is your selling climax. So you can see they're the exact same volume. So that means the person that sold it or bought up here, or is probably selling up here, is now buying down here. So then you're going to get your secondary test here. Then this is kind of your shakeout right here, and you should see possibly another thrust down, and then your sign of strength and your bullish reversal. So if this is accumulation, you might get one more thrust down. This is a shakeout, and then you're going to get kind of something like this. And going into earnings, this will be what's key, is do you get the sell-off and then the breakout? That'll be interesting. So I'm not saying this is exactly what's going to happen, but I can't see this going down more. They really got to turn the earnings around, in my opinion. But the tech that they have and the opportunity they have with 3D mapping of buildings and things like that in the metaverse, you're getting in now, but this is probably like a long-term hold. So you're probably looking 5 to 10 years. Hold this. This could be $100 billion company. You could 100x on this one. But you're going to have to be patient with it, and you're going to have to hold it for a while. So trying to play it with options, probably not, but add it to your long-term portfolio. Put $1,000 in it. That might be 100,000 in 10 years. You never know. Just remember that day when Tom told you to buy MTTR at $8, and then 10 years from now it's at 800. Alright, what else we got? POW. Oh, what just happened? So, this one's been disappointing for me. I remember I played it on this earnings, and I didn't sell at the top. I thought it was going to keep going. That's silly of me. I should have known better once it rejected off of this. I just wasn't looking at the big picture, and that's what happens when in doubt, zoom out, right? You know, I even say it myself, and I didn't do it. I need to write all these rules down, so there's so many different rules, but Powell's one of those stocks where it's not terrible. I listened to the earnings call. You know, they have a factory opening this year, which should allow them to reduce price per bullet by 1 to 2 pennies, which is a big deal because they produce so many. And so earnings have been great over great over great, and it's not gotten any love. So, I mean, the price to earnings could be, it has to get better. You know, they're currently 30.6, so they are making money, and they are improving. You know, you can see they went from 47 million in assets to 400. So, you know, over 1 year's time, they've had 1,000% growth. Balance sheet is fine. You know, they have barely zero debt. Book per share is amazing. Income statement, you know, they're just, well, they're a $500 million company. This could be a bump and run reversal down here. So basically what you do is you get, this is what's called a shakeout. So you get a thrust down, and you get up, and you can see you get the retest, and then now you get your sign of strength here. The volume is a little weak for me, but let's just see. It's got a major pivot here it's got to get over. See that, you know, it had this descending triangle, breakdown, retest, breakdown. So finish that. Again, this is another one that you guys have mentioned to me. I've watched it. This is probably a good price to get into it. You're going to get a lot of this value right now showing up in the market because of how bearish the market has been. And stocks like this that have been beaten down so much don't have a ton more room to fall, but don't be wrong. Don't be naive in thinking that this can't go down more. I'm just saying if you want something of value that you can hold for 5 to 10 years, that's probably what to do with this, trying to play it day to day. Probably another one I wouldn't play day to day because timing something like this. Let me look up the short interest on this. I think, I can't remember if this one's shorted. I feel like it is. Uh, 16%. Pretty good utilization, 60%. Nothing in terms of a short squeeze, but if it starts to pick up momentum, has some good, strings together a few more good earnings. So if this earnings is really good March 2nd, that could be the catalyst for the reversal. So that's going to be right here. So, you know, maybe you see some of this chop here. Maybe you see something like that in the earnings, and then maybe the earnings, it goes up above the 200 day. So maybe, you know, you get your earnings and then it pops to right here. You know, that would be a really good, and then you form a power earnings gap, and then you start to get your bullish continuation. So I was charting a bunch this weekend. Man, let's go through my high ATR list here. Unless if you guys got requests, I don't mind taking some requests tonight. But otherwise, I'm going to go through my high ATR list. And these are popular stocks that I just have a whole list of. So this is Airbnb. Airbnb will be interesting. You know, this is one of those stocks where, coming out of COVID, I think they've done a good job of weathering the storm. Don't love their valuation, like 100 billion, like, oh my. But they're starting to make money again. They have a good network. They can go international. they really could blow up to be something big. I just the earnings this week, probably something I can't play. I don't love that it kind of ended with like a tiny bear flag here. So it was in this uptrend. A lot of these stocks I'm looking at this week have like these rising wedges like this. So don't be surprised if this one pulls one of these, drops $30. Adobe, I mean, this thing just looks sad. This thing got annihilated. It's just in a channel right now. It's kind of in a megaphone down. So we should start to see a relief rally. I think this week's going to be bearish. There's a lot of bad things going on this week. Should see a little bit of relief early in the week. Might be a gap down tomorrow into a red to green possibly. Fill the gap by the end of the day and then drop it again. So, you know, you might see something like this. Yeah, the eBay chart I was looking at, and that thing looked terrible. So, I don't know, maybe you see something like this. And then finally, you know, from there. Let me look at eBay. It was so simple, like I was looking at it. This is why I like this chart. So, simple wedge, right? A little bit rising. EXPE did good. So I expect, you know, they did really good, so I think that should help A, B, and B. And based on that, you know, they have Verbo, which is a B&B competitor. So, well, the question is though, like, I know Verbo did good. Is Verbo taking market share away from Airbnb? Because I'm pretty sure it is. Because you know who uses Verbo and not Airbnb? All the people that travel, all the old people use Verbo. I know that because all my parents, aunts, uncles all send me Verbo stuff when we go on vacation. None of them send me Airbnb. So, eBay, interesting here. Earnings are expected to be middle of the road. But, you know, they got this rising wedge breakdown. Solid candle. Couldn't get back in. And rejected twice to make a doji, which could signal more downside. So, not a huge drop, but maybe a $3 drop this week into earnings. So, wow, they have ridiculous price there. Wow, they make tons of money compared to what they're valued at. Any idea on Tesla? Yeah, hold on. Let me pull out a different layout here. There we go. Alright, Tesla. Oh, that's my SPY chart. Alright, so I made a prediction on Tesla beginning of the year. That's what this looks like now. I've been, other than a little bit of price action difference there, I should have expected a little bit more resilience, but for the most part I've been right so far. So if we start from scratch here, you see it's just not getting over this resistance zone here. I still expect Tesla to fill this wick down here. And I think what it's going to do is, this looks like it could be a morning star right here. But I think it's going to be short-lived, so expect something like that this week. Let me pull up my earnings chart. Maybe we can go through some good earnings this week. Ah, there's some really good ones. I didn't know Powell has earnings tomorrow. This says it's not till March 2nd, but Earnings Whisper has it tomorrow. I think I trust Earnings Whisper over TradingView. Okay, I want you guys to watch this stock, Weber. Oh, what is there? Is it? There it is. Himix does have earnings this week, and I may hold through it on the small account. Very much considering that I really think it's gonna be a banger. Okay, so Pow is tomorrow. This is one you're gonna want to watch because this could be. Okay, so Weber Grills, and I'm gonna tell you why you want to watch this. Has their earnings tomorrow. If they make money tomorrow, put your house on it. I'm gonna show you why. As soon as I pull up my data here. So for all the people that are missing the stream tonight, this is your potential banger of the week. I have something special that I've been holding in my back pocket. I talked to Sigon about this, Tristan this week on it, and then we didn't really discuss it much beyond that. But there's something very important I want to show you, and I think even if their earnings are decent, I should have swung some Weber calls over the weekend. I forgot that it had. Man, is about this talk about short interest. But there's a lot of other data here, so pulling this right off of Ortex. So 100% utilization keeps going up. Short interest is at 35%. Cost to borrow is hovering between 30 and 60%. So all the data is there for a short squeeze. All it needs is a catalyst. Yeah, this isn't tailored to any one person. I'm just saying I like the stock if they have good earnings. So, you know, they have this rounding bottom kind of going on. So you have your selling climax here, retest, thrust up, final spring. So this could be accumulation down here. Volume I'd like to see going higher. It's been going down this whole time, but we did see the volume on the end of the day Friday really well. So there's probably a couple of shorts covering just because shorts don't want to cover, or shorts don't want to swing through earnings. Some probably do because they're expecting crappy earnings. Let me pull up on Earnings Whisper what they're predicting for it to do. I'd be very curious what their prediction is. Okay, so the consensus is that they're going to lose 9 cents a share, have about 315 million. Earnings Whisper thinks they're going to do worse and lose 11 cents a share. So that is, TradingView's got them at -6. So, you know, income has continued to go up. I think I've seen Weber as a brand come back, even in my family. Been buying them. I bought one last year. Pay attention to if they cut their dividend or not. That'll also be important. But like I said, this is just something we want to watch. I'm going to set an alert on this for myself because if this breaks this, I might day trade it. So, alright, let's see what else we got going on tomorrow. Ooh. That's not what I thought it was. Got Avis tomorrow after Amcor. Oh wow, I even had this numbered out. I haven't charted this since October of last year. We can look at LMT salt. I'm just pulling up some data on this. 5%. Okay, it's not going to squeeze. I mean, yeah, I keep this one on my watch list. I like this one. How have they done on earnings? Down. Crushed it. Wow. Down. I mean, okay, so up, down, up, down. Alright, by law of surprise, I would say we go up on this. So I'm bullish on this in the earnings. I'm saying it has to go up a ton, but forget what Amcor does. Semiconductor. Ooh. Run to 26 in the earnings. Let's print that. Alright, you want me to look at LMT? Alright. That was a large volume candle going into the end of Friday. Obviously off of the Russia news. Now, I don't expect... See, I kind of think this is a fake out. They usually sell off into dividend as well. And dividend's coming up soon. I mean, usually they... I think it's going to do the same thing here, where you get this distribution. I think it's going to come back down. I don't think it's going to come back down that much. But there's got to be some profit taking. This thing ran from 325 to 400. So, I don't think it's going to be... You might get a little bit of a boost. So, I think you're going to see something like that. Yeah, car... This tomorrow. Obviously, they went absolutely bonkers. 170 to 550 off their last earnings. So that was obviously someone was expecting bad earnings, and they absolutely just crushed earnings. And they got squeezed hard because they were shorted as well. Because people were shorting it thinking, hey, no one's going to rent cars during COVID. And so then the shorts were wrong. They held on too long. Oh, man, it's still 20% shorted. Still shorted. So, who knows? This will be an interesting one as well. So, I mean, it's basically back where it was last earning. It is exactly where it was last earnings. So, you have 7 million shares shorted on an average. So, this has a... Yeah, this thing... I mean, I don't see any reason why they would go down after their last earnings, so I can see this at least going up $20, if not $40 off of earnings. It's going to go big one way or the other, I know that, so it's probably either going to go down to 100 or up to 228. So Walmart. Hold on 1 second. Let's check something. Just had to check if my daughter was asleep. And she is, so that's good. Walmart. Man, I was wrong on that. I thought I had this thing figured out. But then the correction happened, so we start over. But that doesn't mean the count was necessarily wrong. What the hell is that? That's definitely distribution right there. So this is what a lot of people are predicting this week. You see how you have like this rising wedge here? People think we're going to break north out of it, which could happen. We'll see. Are we going... I mean... Walmart has yet to break this level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times trying. I think supply chain's going to hurt them, but I think Walmart's going to fill this gap to 137 into earnings. So, from there, I can't really predict. Tiff, you're gonna love my HD chart. I'm not bullish at all on this. So, I already had this charted. I was looking at this week for puts. That's a clear head and shoulders in a retest, so you can clearly see left shoulder, head, right shoulder. You can see the red volume is much higher than all the green. The volume has been going down the whole time. It's a textbook head and shoulders. It is on the 200 days, so I figure it will probably be a battleground here. So if it breaks below the 200 day, you can short that all day down to 325. But let's just be careful of that. Yeah, Walmart's been king of the box for what, years? I mean, if you zoom out on the daily, Walmart's been in this box since, I mean, it's the same price. Walmart's the same price that it was April of 2020. It's the same price almost 2 years ago. So keep that in mind. Alright, so solar earnings have been really good so far. And so keep an eye on those, as we're going to get some more this week. You got Solar Edge Tuesday after close. We're going to take a look at Roblox here in a second as well. Just taking a look at everything. You got Sunrun Thursday for solar. Ooh, you got Craft on Wednesday, Shopify Wednesday, Nvidia, Lattice on Tuesday. All the semiconductors are this week. That'll be interesting. So it's going to be all eyes on Amcor Monday to see how the semiconductors are going to do. Tower Semiconductor Thursday morning. Palantir. DraftKings Friday. So Sedge, I really like going into earnings. They've been king of the box as well for 2 years. I do think this is the first time they beat. They haven't beaten since back then. And even on that beat, they fell down. They're kings of dying on earnings, though. They did gap up the last 2 times on earnings. Well, one of the last 2 times. But I like the setup here. You'll see that's when it's been below the 200. It's typically done good. So earnings continue to go up. I mean, it just ran too hard with all the solar bullishness last year, so it's finally catching up to that. It does still have room to go down. Crap. Alright, I don't love the financials on this one. I'm going to leave this one alone. Let's take a look at Roblox. I'm very bullish on Roblox for earnings. Mainly because Nancy Pelosi owns a bunch of Roblox. And for only that reason. So it's clearly in a channel into earnings. It did also break this downtrend and is sitting right on support into it. So I find that super interesting. So I think you might see, just based on FinTwit, might see a run to 76 this week. And from there, I mean, last earnings it had crappy earnings, but the subscriber numbers were good when it went from 76 to 110, went up $40. Our earnings before that went from 64 to 77. Earnings before that, that one was the only one that fell, so it's been every other one, but it's basically at IPO price right now. So I'm gonna see, has revenue been going up? Yep, revenue's been going up, so that's good. Assets been going up. But fundamentally, they're not. I mean, it's just about the subscribers. So if their subscribers completely go, probably be expensive to play, if I'm being honest with you. Let's take a look at how futures are doing if they're still in the box. Oh, alright. Futures are green. They broke north out of that box I showed you at the beginning of the show. Ooh, this is starting to look like a rounding bottom. We might actually be green into tomorrow. I did swing some puts, but that's okay. Still needs to get over 442. I'd be more bullish on LMT than BA. And there's probably some better defense stocks out there. I mean, really, if you want to play, if you really want to play the Russia-Ukraine conflict, you need to be looking at energy, not defense stocks. Everyone's like, oh yeah, I'm going to buy defense stocks, but that doesn't help them because LMT doesn't sell weapons to Ukraine. So why are they going to make more money? No, you want to look at the things that are going to get affected in the supply chain, like semiconductors getting cut off from their mineral supplies, like natural gas sanctions on Russia driving natural gas prices up, oil prices getting driven up, things like that. Those are the things that you can play. Defense stocks, typically people try to play them on war because it seems like, oh yeah, war means more money for defense contractors. No, it's not always the case. Let's take a look at silver. Might as well look at silver futures. Up 1% after hours. Just keeps getting pinged down. I mean, it hasn't gotten over the 200 days since July of last year. Every time it hits it, people just short the crap out of it. How is there a big price difference? I mean, TSM is one of the biggest semiconductors in the world, if not the biggest, in terms of manufacturing prowess. I mean, they have a $600 billion market cap. They make tons of money. I mean, fundamentally, they're a very fundamentally sound company. I mean, 29 PE ratio, 30 PE ratio currently. If you look at NVIDIA, people are pricing in the future of NVIDIA. So the big thing with that is, I mean, their PE ratio is 2.5 times. They have the same market cap, but they make a third less money as, say, TSM. But, you know, they're going to get benefited by a bunch of things. You know, they're benefited by Congress, things like that, the American semiconductor chip bill will benefit them, and they're doing a lot of things in terms of manufacturing that's going to help them in the future. So, Amazon's coming down to $27.50. Depends on if we go bullish on Amazon or not. Might come back up. Needs to get over 3,200 for me to get bullish on it. But I think it's going to fill this gap down here to 2,900. Oxy, I thought it would take a little bit more consolidation, but it's just loving this channel right now. It might have that blow off the top, so we might see something like this on Oxy now. CGC. I mean, CGC had okay earnings. That's right, Bear on the Beach. You hit it on the head. TSM is the one that makes all the chips. They make AMD's chips, but AMD designs the chips just like NVIDIA, and then NVIDIA does a whole bunch of other things as well. Yeah, so there's a lot of uranium produced in Ukraine, so you could see uranium prices spike. I don't really have a... I mean, if I had to guess, CGC is probably going to hover between $6 and $10 for forever. So, you saw CCJ on earnings have spectacular earnings. Actually made a profit. Got right above the 200-day. Oh, that was a nice bounce. I should have played that. Probably going to see some accumulation in this area. Maybe a retest of the 200-day in the price area of around 21 to 21.50. And then from there you should see bullish continuation. So, if you know, I wrote about Quad U in the newsletter last week. It was a banger play. You know, I showed you the OI. OI was fantastic. Showed you the inverse head and shoulders. We had a nice breakout. We played that and we made a lot of money on it. So Zillow had nice earnings. So they had an earnings surprise. People thought they were going to lose a lot of money. So be interesting to see. They're going to be trading in a box now. So For Zillow, just play whatever way it breaks out of the box. If it breaks low, go short. Breaks high, go long. Pretty simple strategy on that. Nothing to get complicated on. Google. So this is following my path. I had predicted off of earnings that it would go up and then come back down. Now, I probably didn't expect to go up that high and didn't expect to go down this low. So, you know, this did that. So, we can get rid of that. We get rid of that. So, you've been looking at two things here that I think are important on Google. Now, they had killer earnings. Everything was good. I don't love these double dojis under the 200-day. It's sitting right in my support zone, so this is where I would expect it to bounce. I think if it can reclaim the 200, you know, over 2,700, I'd be very bullish on it. And in general, I like Google. Like, they have the stock split coming up. Like, if you were to go with like some July 2,900, 3,000 spreads, I think those are free money right now. Let me look how much those would be. I might just drop a house on that tomorrow. Hold on, let's actually... The problem Google has is it's suffering from the sell-off with all the other tech stocks. Alright, so if you're not familiar, they're going to have their stock split in mid-June. Alright, so 127. Alright, so it cost you about $2,400 to make 10 grand. So you got about a 4-to-1 upside there. You like that saying? Even the 3,000, 3,100s are a little pricey. About 34, 3,500. Yeah, you could do $700 for the 3,400, 3,500. $700 to make 10 grand. That would probably be, you're expecting it to go up $1,000 in the next 4 months. Probably a little bit of a stretch, but I think it's doable. I know it sounds crazy, but we should sell off through, I mean, I think we're going to be in a bear market till about mid-March. And as long as Google doesn't go down much more, after March, April, May, June, July are usually seasonality-wise good months. So I can't imagine this is going to go down much more. Google just makes way too much money for investors not to want to park their money in there. And they're currently sitting with a 24 PE ratio. And their forward PE, I think, is even better. Let me look at this. Hold on. Google forward. Alright, so... yeah, their forward PE is a 23. So it's even better. I mean, a 23 PE ratio for a growth in a tech stock like Google. Until it's considered like a dinosaur stock, which I don't think it is yet. I like it. I do. I'm going to do a couple more and call her hit the hay. Alright, Blink. So if you're familiar with the group and with what I posted, I said Blink was going to short squeeze. And I held a large portion over the weekend. It is sitting right on support in this this volume zone. If I were to turn on VPVR, I'm sure there'd be a huge volume shelf right here. Yep, this is a big. Just like I said, I'm sure there's a huge volume shelf there. So you can see it's got this giant volume shelf here. It needs to get back over 2450 in my opinion. Over 2450, I think this is setting up to go to 30. Like I really think this is going to go to 30, if not higher by next earnings. I could easily see 35 plus by next earnings. Alright, I'll do the last two I see in the chat, and I'm going to show you guys something I've been working on for all of you that have stuck around. I actually made this probably 3 months ago and I gave up on it. I went back to it and see what I could do to improve it. And so I've been working on it, been crunching some numbers, and I think I can make it where it needs to be. Helps that we've been in a bear market too. So, you know, the problem was I was testing it in a bull market. It wasn't working it was working okay, but you know, I didn't put enough time and effort into it. So MRO is just in a channel. Just play the channel. I mean, it's in the it's been playing in the upwards halves of this channel. So just play the bounces, and this thing probably will keep going up until it doesn't. SoFi, I know SoFi hosted the Super Bowl today. Yeah, I'm gonna show you bear tuna. So been working on a lot of new technical algorithms for you guys. So I want us to trust the algorithms. So I've been doing a ton of research and back testing on algorithms, and I'm hoping to drop some new technical ones here in the next few weeks. So SoFi's got this rounding bottom. I mean, it just needs to get some momentum behind it. This volume it's had lately has been insane. Like it's the most volume it's ever had. Let me check the short squeeze data on this. %, 93%. Okay, this has good short squeeze data. It's not quite to the point where I would call it ready to squeeze, but the data's good. This does have potential to go. I mean, look at the short interest, 123 million shares. This might be at this level worth just taking some leaps on, because you're not sure when it's going to squeeze, but it's probably not going down anymore. It's near IPO level. I mean, it's a SPAC, so IPO was $10, right? So that was right here. But the upside for me on this on leaps is far outweighs the downside. So alright, let me guys show you a sneak peek of Super Fortuna Bear. This is on the 2 minute, keep in mind. So this is what I call should be like an intraday Super Fortuna, but I haven't really been playing with it much on like the larger time frames. But you know, the idea is for it to call tops. So I've been working on it. It needs a little bit more fine tuning. So right now I have it, the settings are set for scalping. So I'm going to change the settings and set it for major drops. But you can see, you know, it basically calls all the big drops. But it is something I'm working on, and I think we can get it better. So expect me to have something out sooner than later. It's a major focus of mine. Wanted to show you guys I am working on it. And so if you don't see me on live much or doing this, this is probably one of those things I'm working on. I have so many different things I'm working on right now. It's actually kind of crazy. Yeah, this is some of this. This is what it looks like when I'm working on stuff. I have just crap tons of data and brains and things I'm working on. So pretty fun stuff to work on. But hopefully this helped you guys and gals. Let's make some money this week. And yeah, I'll see you guys on Twitter and the Discord. So hopefully you all have a wonderful weekend. Thank you for joining me. If you did enjoy the stream, appreciate if you give me a like, maybe a subscribe, whatever. Drop a comment after. It does help with the algorithm so we can get more people on here and get some things more busting and a little bit more fun. Thank you.